Costumes. So I'm going to tell you a story. The next group that's going to sing is called Coastal Blend, and one of the songs they're going to do is called King of the Road, and it's a song by, does anybody know? Roger Miller. Roger Miller. So I'm going to tell you about the time I didn't meet Roger Miller. And if you've been to this show before, I told this story about 4 years ago, and you may have heard it, but just bear with me. So I'm actually a barber shopper by night, but day I actually have a real job. I'm actually an attorney, and I'm going to tell you something that happened back in the early 1980s when I was a relatively new attorney working as a prosecutor in the district attorney's office. And something that's just to explain the situation, when you're working as a young district attorney, you often have a whole bunch of cases set for trial, and you don't know which one's going to go out, and they're all on the calendar, and you're trying to figure it all out, and you've got all these witnesses coming in, and all these police officers coming in, and maybe 2 are on this case, and 3 are on this case, and 2 are, you're trying to sort it all out. And then people don't want to come in. They get subpoenaed, and they say, do I really have to come? Because a lot of them are pulling over drunk drivers at night, and daytime is the time they sleep, and they don't really want to come to court. So that's the stage. So I get this phone call, and I pick up the phone, and the guy says, this is Roger Miller. And he goes, do I have to come to court today? And I said, is this the dang me, they ought to take a rope and hang me, Roger Miller? And he said, yes, it is. And I said, okay, which police department are you with? And he says, I'm not with the police department. And I said, well, let me just go grab the file and see what it is. So I started flipping through the file, and when you try a drunk driving case, it seems obvious that the police officer will come in and say, I pulled the guy over and he was drunk and he gave me a field sobriety test and we did it, and that's all how it works. But sometimes it's a tricky one because there's an accident and the police didn't actually see the driving. So then you have to have a witness who saw the person drive. And then the police officer can come in and say, we did the field sobriety test and this is how it worked out. So I flipped through and I see it was an accident, and there was a witness named Roger Miller who lived in Felton, California, which is a Tony neighborhood. And I thought, you know what, maybe this is... So but he had witnessed the driving. So I picked up the phone and I said, is this really the dang me, they ought to take a rope and hang you, Roger Miller? And he said, yes it is. And at this point I could recognize his voice. And he says, do I have to come into court today? And I looked and I saw the attorney on the other side, and he rarely went to trial. And I said, you know, it was a high blood alcohol. I said, the case is probably going to settle. I'm going to put you on standby. You don't have to come into court. Now, was that nice of me? Because I really did want to meet him. But I said, if it's not too much trouble, if you could just autograph the subpoena and send it back to me. And then I'll call you and let you know what happened. And if you have to come in, then you have to come in. So he didn't have to come in. The guy pled his guy out. We didn't have a trial. But a few days later, in the mail, I got this subpoena, which I have framed, that said, to Jeana, the queen of the road, and my favorite DA, Roger Miller. So that's a story about how I never met Roger Miller. So I think we're ready for our next quartet, which is called Coastal Blend, with Dale, Nancy, Ian, and Dan.
Coastal Blend, we thought we'd take you on a musical road trip. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, almost heaven. West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Mine is lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teared up in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, country roads. I hear her voice in the morning, how she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, country roads. Singing along. That's okay. If you know these songs, it's okay with us. You can sing along. Just don't sing better than we do. So one thing we love about singing in a barbershop quartet or a four-part voice, acapella voice group is you can do a lot of different kinds of songs. And we get a chance we'll do a few during the show tonight. But in my mind, the highest and best use of a acapella quartet is in a good old gospel song. So we're going to do a spiritual for you with a different destination and a different mode of transportation. Ride the chariot. I'm gonna ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. Riding the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for Judgment Day, my Lord, my Lord.
Are you ready, my brother?
Oh yes.
Ready for the journey?
Oh yes.
Want to meet your maker?
Oh yes. I'm waiting for the chariot 'cause I'm ready to go. I'm gonna ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for Judgment Day, my Lord, my Lord. I never will forget the day riding the chariot, my Lord, when all my sins were taken away. Riding the chariot, my Lord. I'm gonna ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm getting ready for the Judgment Day, my Lord, my Lord. I'm gonna ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. Ride the chariot in the morning, Lord. I'm gonna ride in the chariot to reach the sky. To reach the sky. So now we're going to do our final song here. We're going to dedicate it to the Queen of the Road. Doom, 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 dee, doom, 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 doom. Trailer, sailorette, rose and fury sings. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes. 2 hours of pushing the roads by the an 8x12 4-bedroom mama. Man of means by no means, king of the road. Third box on a midnight train, destination Niagara. Old worn out suit and shoes. I don't pay no union dues. All the stories I have found, the short run out to bigger round. Man of means by no means, king of the road. I on every train, all the children know their names, and every hand sailorette.
Yeah, they got
rooms to let 50 cents.
No phone,
no phone, no pool, no